Okay, so they just flew in today, I think, really. Like, they just got off a plane from the UK, so if you could please make it worth their while. Will Lovelace and Dylan Southern, the directors of Shut Up and Play Dance. So thanks for coming all this way.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so we have maybe 10, 15 minutes. If you have a question, you should throw your hands in the air as soon as you can. Shout it out. I'll repeat it into a mic to make sure that people heard it. And then I'm going to pass it off to you guys. So I guess maybe, okay, right there.
Hi. Awesome fucking movie. Amazing. Question.
Thank you.
How much creative control did James have over the songs that you guys put into the movie? Because it seemed like you did play all the hits, and then he also seemed pretty candid. Did he cry after he saw the entire film the first time?
So that's multiple questions.
Yeah.
How much creative control did James have over the songs you put in the movie? Did he cry after he saw the film? I guess that's just two. Did I get him?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he cried. In terms of the songs, we chose the songs that are in the film, and so we worked out the ones that we thought best told the story, and a mixture of some hits and other songs that worked at certain points in the film. It was tricky though, because it's like a 4-hour concert, so there's about a quarter of what you see, a quarter of the whole concert is what you see there. But James seemed happy with it, and it changed right up into the last minute. The Daft Punk was in it right towards the end, and then we had to take it out, and yeah, it was a hard one to work out really.
Right there.
What's James like just as a person?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
No, it's really stupid.
The question is just like, what's James like as a person?
He's great. He's a great collaborator. He was very involved in the film towards the end, particularly the sound mixing. Like it sounds so incredible because he came into the 5.1 mix and mixed it to sound like you were actually at the concert. So, he was really, really good to work with, and as you see him on screen, really.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Right there.
What's James doing now? Does he regret quitting?
Right now, I'm not sure. He's coming here tomorrow. He's doing a lot of DJing and making coffee and all the things he talked about. And I don't think he regrets it, because I think he was very certain of the decision, and his life seems to have been pretty full since stopping. But I think he probably misses playing with those guys on stage, but he still sees them, and they still hang out and they're still friends.
Filming it seems sort of like really monumental, right? It was like a gigantic concert of 18,000 people. So, how big was your team? Where were you guys? How did you decide where to place yourselves? That sort of thing.
We'd sort of decided to try and shoot it in a more old-fashioned way. So rather than having a sort of big bank of monitors and an outside broadcast type thing, we thought it would be more interesting to shoot it as close to the experience of being there. And so we got like a bunch of about 10 cinematographers and Dylan as well, and they all were given a position, whether that be like the side of the stage to sort of be like a friend in the band or in the crowd or wherever, and we sort of let them go and hope that they didn't all film the same thing at the same time.
Part of what we wanted to do was to make an old-fashioned concert film, so it was a really old-school approach. The guys that we got to shoot it weren't necessarily people that shot shows all the time. They came more from film backgrounds. Spike Jonze was on one of the cameras, which was incredible. James just said, "Do you mind if Spike comes and shoots the camera?" And we were like, "Fine, yeah, that's good." So yeah, it was more about just creating a document of the event rather than taping a show.
And when you say old school, like your influences, the documentaries that you wanted to be like are?
We were sort of inspired by things like The Last Waltz and Stop Making Sense and those kind of, seminal concert movies. I don't know if we quite got there, but, they were the things we were watching.
Okay. Right in the back. Well, middle back, right there.
Hi. Just wondering, how did you and Murphy first cross paths? How did the project come about? And also, is there any plans to release those other 4 hours of footage.
So how did the project come about? Are you going to release the other 4 hours of footage?
We'd done a music documentary previously to this on the band Blur, and we sort of, having finished that and done all the festivals with it, we were thinking about what the next project would be, and we weren't sure if it would be another music documentary, but then we had a mutual friend with James who said that, you know, you guys should meet with James and talk to him, and we sort of got on straight away and started talking about making a film. It wasn't going to be this film at first because the plan to play Madison Square Garden hadn't even been made at that point, but over the months that we kind of talked back and forth with James, he said that the show was happening, and it seemed like the perfect thing to hang the film on, really. And the 4-hour full concert will be coming out at some point.
Soon. We're stuck in an edit at the moment trying to finish it.
Right there.
A lot of the shooting was like really candid and personal in his actual apartment, like him waking up in the morning in his bed. I'm just wondering like what the presence of a crew was like, and like how many people were involved in that to still keep it really candid.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a difficult thing to get right because, you know, a massive film crew in your house isn't exactly that kind of normal. But, you know, we kind of kept it as small as possible, really. A few people who James already knew, and sort of had spent enough time with James at that point that it you know, was as normal as it could be.
Is there anyone on the balcony that I'm missing? There is, right there.
Do you have any of the footage from any of the Terminal 5 shows?
Unfortunately, we didn't film any of those. No, we went to a couple of them and were able just to enjoy it rather than work. But yeah, we didn't shoot them, unfortunately.
I don't have time for maybe like 1 or 2 more. Right there.
Those are Blur and LCD Soundsystem are pretty high-profile gigs. What did you do before, and what are you doing next?
Sorry. You can repeat it if you want. So you're saying Blue or LCD Soundsystem? Those are pretty high profile. What were you doing before to get involved with those gigs, and what are you doing after this?
Just filmography-wise, and what are you doing next?
Okay, well, previous to the Blur film, we'd done a lot of music videos and music things for British TV. We just went out on a limb and got in touch with Blur. We'd made videos for people like Franz Ferdinand and Arctic Monkeys and bands like that, and we got in touch with Blur because growing up they were a band that we were big fans of, and got a meeting with them and arrived to speak to them thinking they'd been told who we were and why we were there, and they hadn't, and we had to kind of sell them the idea of these 2 guys they'd never heard of making a film, and the meeting went terribly and we left thinking that's never going to happen. And then about 3 weeks before they got back together, we got a call saying they want you to do it. So we sort of fluked our way into that, really. Next, we're hoping to make a move to do a fiction feature rather than a documentary. Yeah, but we're still kind of working on ideas for that.
Right there.
It seems like a lot of documentary filmmakers spend this insane amount of time with their subjects, where this seems like it was shot over a couple days, really, like maybe a couple weeks. Is that, first of all, is that true, presumably? And second of all, did you intend to have it be such a short length of time, or is the fact that he's such a high-profile subject kind of playing that? Maybe just talk about that a little bit.
How long did you spend with him, I guess, really? Often, I guess, people spend a lot of time with their subjects. How long did you spend with him? It seems like it was only a couple weeks. Was that the plan?
Yeah, that was exactly the plan, really. When we first talked about the project, we were adamant that it wasn't going to be the sort of biography film of LCD. It wasn't going to be something that charted their whole career from when they first met through all the albums and stuff. It was very much going to be about that moment in time, so it was kind of the form of the film dictated that we only spent a short amount of time with James. In reality, we spent a lot of time with him prior to the shoot, getting to know each other and getting comfortable and talking about it, and which made it easier when it came to do it in such a short space of time.
I think I have time for like 1 more. I'm pretty sure I saw a hand right there.
Can you describe the difference between the Blur documentary and making that
They're both nice guys in different ways. I guess this one was definitely more of a collaboration. You know, when we made the Blur film, we sort of had the approach to stay way back and sort of be in the corner of the room and not to get to know them that well whilst making it. With James, we sort of did the opposite and got to know him quite well before we'd shot anything. So I guess that was the sort of key difference between working with Blur and working with James.
But we had the same impression of Damon going into that film and the whole control freak thing. But when it actually came to him seeing an edit, the only change he asked to be made to the film was to take a shot of his daughter out, just because he didn't want his daughter on camera. So he really wasn't that controlling in that respect. But the two films were different in that one was much more kind of, you know, we were telling the story from start to finish of Blur, and it was much more kind of us observing from a distance, whereas this one was at much closer quarters, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of all the time that we have. I'm sorry to do it, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
The film's awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to vote on your way out for the audience award.